These are the first group of white South Africans who've been fast-tracked into refugee status. The Trump administration made a big thing about cracking down on immigration and suspending the refugee resettlement program. So questions are being asked on why has such an exception been made for this group of people?
White farmers are being brutally killed and their land is being confiscated in South Africa.
Billionaire Elon Musk grew up in apartheid South Africa. He's one of Donald Trump's closest advisors, and he claims that there is a genocide of white people happening. South Africa's foreign minister says that there has been no land confiscation, and Donald Trump's claims that murders are happening in large numbers is not backed by any police data.
This is for the Americans. If you're not an American, feel free to watch, but please try and get it to the Americans. My name is Bianca van Wyk, born in South Africa, live in South Africa. Today you will be welcoming the so-called white Afrikaans refugees. They are there based on an offer made to them, which I must say was informed by disinformation about South Africa. Now, I've seen a lot of takes on who Americans think they are receiving. Okay, you are not getting successful, professional, white, middle class South Africans that are fleeing South Africa. The people you are getting are the people that believe that there is discrimination against them based on their race. Keep in mind, we live in the most unequal country in the world. We have, for instance, 70% of agricultural land and agricultural holdings are owned by white South Africans. 62 to 68% of top leadership positions in corporate are filled by white males. There is a huge salary disparity between white South Africans and the rest of the population. And there are a number of other indicators which shows you that this story of discrimination based on race is false. Another thing that I wanted to say is that you will get certain so-called refugees that have experienced crime. However, in South Africa, no one is exempt. These people that you are welcoming assume because they're white, they should not experience crime. The people most affected by crime in South Africa happen to be black people that live in poverty. So as you open your doors and welcome people, and you're going to get a lot of information and disinformation from these people, please do keep that in mind. Oh, I also would like to say all the best and good luck to the Americans.
Shalom. Giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shah by Hashem Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who teach and rule well in all truth and sincerity. Shalom, peace and blessings to the hopeful elect. The house of David started with 144,000, followed by the 1/3 remnant. Shalom. So clear and blatant hypocrisy from the devil that the Bible speaks of, the so-called white man, Esau, Edom. All right, now here it is, they're bringing in all these refugees, so-called South Africans, all right, which are really just so-called white peasants, all right, all the while making a big deal about deporting so-called immigrants, all right, coming in from the southern border, man, which are Jakes. So we see what this devil Trump and these devils are doing with the so-called Mexicans and other Northern Kingdom tribes that want to come that come here. He getting them out of America, Babylon the Great, but then he's bringing in so-called white South Africans, man. Blatant hypocrisy, man. Evil, wicked. Just wickedness, man. But hey, we know that it's the Lord doing this for many reasons. All right, mainly to stir up Jake, man. Because our people need to see you know, that this man is the devil, because you got all people still out. Oh, well, the white man, they ain't white people ain't so bad. You know, they all say they the devil, they ain't the devil. But what about this, man? If this doesn't show you that this man is the devil that the Bible speaks of, I'm talking about the so-called white man. All right, then you just gone, man. Your mind is destroyed. Here it is. He brought them in. They're being fast-tracked and everything, man. Basically giving citizenship, man. But trying to pay, all right, so-called Hispanics and Latinos to leave, man. Just wicked as hell. Let's start in Isaiah 32. And you saw the so-called white South African lady expose the truth, all right, about what's going on with these so-called South African refugees, man. See, basically they're just saying that, which we already know, that these people, they have a sense of entitlement. They feel that they should have more than what they have just because they're white, or so-called white rather. All right, which is the Edomite mentality, man. You know, they think that they should have everything just because they're so-called white, which they're not white, they're red. All right, and like she was going into, man, you know, the so-called whites really don't dominate Africa, man, not just South Africa. All right, now we're in the end, so of course Ham, all right, the Hamites are raising up against all that colonization and apartheid. All right, trying to get their land back, you know, but fighting against these devils. All right, but still, man, the so-called white man runs and controls Africa, man. The entire continent is named after a so-called white man. Go look it up. Leo Scipio Africanus, man. So how the hell are they being discriminated against, man? It's just lies like the lady brought out, man. She went into the statistics, brought out the number. She stated how, 70% of all the agriculture holdings and all that are owned by so-called white men. 62 to 68% of all the leadership positions in corporate Africa, so to speak, all right, are so-called white men. So they own everything, man. All right. The true Hamites, the true so-called Africans are not controlling Africa, man. The so-called white man is. All right, matter of fact, because I seen one of the elders from Dallas bring this out, so I'll do the same. What's the guy's name? Cecil Rhodes. Cecil Rhodes. Yeah, you look at this, man. And this is him right here, but this is the point I want to make. He's standing from one end of Africa to the other, man. Showing you that the so-called white man controls Africa. Look at this, man. And like I said, the entire continent is named after a so-called white man. Leo Scipio Africanus, man. All right. So they think that just because they can't get ahead over there in Africa, so to speak, well, it's ran by their own people. So them not being able to get ahead is their own problem, man. And they're not farmers, man. You see, you know, you saw it in the clip how those people look, man. A lot of them are overweight. You looking at their hands, smooth hands. Farmers have rough hands, man. So they're not real farmers, man. They're just entitled so-called white people, you know, Dutch. All right. That think they're going to come over here in America and get ahead, man. And that's why Trump welcomed them with open arms, because they always did that when it comes to these so-called white peasants. They give them all kind of loans, give them they give them a start, so to speak, man, so they can get on their feet. They give them an economic base. All right, that's what America always did with so-called white peasants. They always welcomed them over here with open arms and brought them over here, helped them out, man. Like I said, gave them an economic base. All right. What do you think? The police force and the fire department, man. That was given to white peasants that came over here, man. That's how they control that industry. Like I said, the fire department, man. All right, all that, the police force. That was given to them because those were white peasants that came over here. So they were given the police force, the fire department, man. So a lot of people talking about how they think these so-called white African refugees are going to struggle over here. Well, I don't think they are, man, because they're going to get help. They're going to get all kind of grants, loans, benefits, man. So, yeah, man. Isaiah 32. And I'll start at 5. Isaiah 32 and 5. The vile person shall be no more called liberal, nor the churl said to be bountiful. The vile person is Esau, the so-called white man. Verse 6. For the vile person will speak villainy, and his heart will work iniquity to practice hypocrisy. Yeah, like I said, look what's going on with this whole deportation thing, man. Here it is. He had paused the so-called Refugee Act or whatever. But he, brought these so-called white South Africans in, man, and fast-tracked them, giving them citizenship, man, refugee status, man. But kicking out the so-called Mexicans, this is their land to begin with. The so-called Mexicans are native to this land, man. They were here first. But you putting them out of their own land and bringing in your wicked-ass people, man. So-called Europeans, because that's what they are. Like I said, Dutch, they're from Holland and all that, man. Edomites. So you see the blatant hypocrisy, man. But that's what the wicked does. That's why he's the devil that the Bible speaks of, man. For the vile person will speak villainy, and his heart will work iniquity to practice hypocrisy and to utter error against the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, to make empty the soul of the hungry, and he will cause the drink of the thirsty to fail. The instruments of the churl is like the villain. The instruments also of the churl are evil. He devises wicked devices to destroy the poor with lying words, even when the needy speaketh the right. And the poor is us Israelites, man. All right, so you see the blatant hypocrisy, man. Kicking out so-called Mexicans. All right. El Salvadorians, because those are Jakes too, for the most part. People are getting deported back to Mexico, El Salvador, Puerto Rico, and all that, man. But he's bringing in these so-called whites, man. These damn white peasants from South Africa, claiming that there's a genocide going on and that they're being discriminated against, man. See how it's genocide when they want it to be genocide. All right, now what the small ants are doing over there in Gaza to the Palestinians, that's not genocide. But they're perpetrating the lie that the so-called white South Africans are being, a genocide is being committed against them, man. And that's why I put that clip of the so-called white South African lady exposing the truth. All right. When the so-called white man controls South Africa, man. All right. So blatant hypocrisy and wickedness from the so-called white man. And that's why you Jakes better wake up, man. You so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you better wake up before it's too late, man, and know that this man is the devil. Because he's also doing this to mock you tribes, man. Because he has these devils, they have a perpetual hatred for us, man, the Lord's true chosen people, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, man. That's why they kick you out and bring in their own people, bring in their fellow Edomites, man. All right. Let's go to Psalms 73. Because them so-called white South Africans, you have to ask yourself, well, Why are they over there in the first place? They're not native to that land. How did they get over there in the first place? They took it over, man. As the scripture says in Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Just like they did over here in America, they did the same thing over there in Africa, man, and all around the earth, man. Went over there and raped, robbed, and murdered, man. That's how they got there in the first place. So now that Ham is standing up fighting for their land, all right, they want to say it's a genocide. And they want to say that, oh, these people are being discriminated against, which is a bold-faced lie, man. Psalm 73. And I'll start at 5. This is concerning the wicked, the so-called white man, Esau, Edom, Psalm 73 and 5. They are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. Therefore pride compasseth them about as a chain, violence covereth them as a garment. So they're the real violent people, man. Look at their track record, look at their history, man. All they've done is gone around the earth and rape, rob, and murder. Colonized all these different nations, man, around the earth. And when people stand up to them, they play semantics. They want to play the villain. They want to play the victim, man, when really they're the villain. They're the churl, man, that the Bible speaks of. They're the villain. Their eyes stand out with fatness. They have more than heart could wish. This is the point, Psalm 73 and 8. They are corrupt. They speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak loftily. Loftily meaning proudly. All right. So they speak wickedly concerning oppression. All right. Here it is. They oppress all the different nations, especially us, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. All right. But when people stand up to them, they say they act like they're the one being oppressed, man. They lie. How do you control the earth but you're being oppressed, man? You see that lie? They speak wickedly concerning oppression. Let them tell it. They never oppress people. They're the ones that are oppressed, man. Which is a lie, man. They're the oppressor, man. They're not the oppressed. We're the oppressed. They're the oppressor, man. Just like they lie concerning these so-called white South Africans, man. Those people aren't oppressed, man. If they're oppressed, it's by their own people. Because they control South Africa. And really all of Africa, man. So they speak wickedly concerning oppression. Yeah, what they're doing to the so-called, Mexicans are not wrong. That's not wrong. That's not oppression. All right, but what's going on with these so-called white South Africans, they're wrong. That's wrong, man. This is why this man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. All right, they speak loftily and wickedly concerning oppression, man. So that's why they're at their end, man. They're about to be put back on the bottom in their rightful position because they're a base people. They're the lowest of the low. The so-called white man I'm talking about, Esau, Edom, the Edomites. All right, so you see the blatant hypocrisy and wickedness from the so-called white man, the devil that the Bible speaks of, man. All right, here it is. They conquered the whole earth, and now that people of their native land are standing up to them, man, and fighting back, they want to say that they're being oppressed, man, which is one of the many tactics of the devil, man. He always does that. He did that with Gad and Reuben and Issachar when they first came over here because they had a hard time conquering America. All right. So when Gad and Reuben and Issachar was kicking their ass, man, fighting back, standing up to them, all right, they wanted to say, oh, these people are violent, That's why they call them so-called Indians, savages. No, man, you the so-called white man, you're the real savage, man. And when people stand up to you, you want to play the victim. But everybody knows that you're the wicked, man. You've been exposed in these last days, man. And that's why all the nations are coming against you. All right, and this is the Lord exposing that you're the devil that the Bible speaks of. So I want to just go into that briefly, man. Pull out 1 or 2 scriptures on it. All right, we're at the end, man. Everybody is coming against the so-called white man. All right. So I just want to do this quick lesson showing the blatant hypocrisy and wickedness of the so-called white man Esau Edom, man. All right, that's why they're about to be taken out. I pray that this has been edifying to the elect through the spirit and power of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shah. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shah by Hashem Kakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who teach and rule well in all truth and sincerity. Shalom, peace and blessing to the hopeful elect. The house of David started with the 144,000, followed by the 1/3 remnant. Abba, Shalom.